In a small, quiet town called Green Hollow, people lived simple lives. They worked, laughed, and slept without fear. But one summer, strange things began to happen. It started with whispers, soft, eerie sounds that came at night. No one knew where they came from, but everyone heard them. Mark was a young man, 25 years old, who lived alone in an old house near the edge of town. He ran a small store and loved watching the stars at night. One evening, as he sat on his porch, he heard it, a faint whisper. "Mark, come to the woods," it said. He froze. The voice was cold, like a breeze from a dark place. He looked around, but no one was there. The street was empty, and the night was still. "Who's there?" Mark called, his heart beating fast. No answer, just the wind. He shook his head, thinking it was his imagination, and went inside. But the whispers didn't stop. Every night they grew louder. "Mark, the woods, come now." He couldn't sleep. His eyes felt heavy, and his mind raced with fear. One day, Mark told his friend Sarah about it. Sarah was brave, always curious, and didn't believe in ghosts. "It's probably just the wind," she said, laughing. "Or maybe you're tired. Let's check it out together." Mark wasn't sure, but he agreed. He didn't want to face it alone. That night, they grabbed flashlights and walked to the woods behind Mark's house. The trees were tall and twisted, their branches like bony fingers reaching for the sky. The air felt thick, and the silence was heavy. As they stepped deeper, the whispers returned. "Sarah, Mark, come closer." The voices were all around them now, low and sharp, like a dozen people speaking at once. Sarah stopped, her face pale. "Okay, I hear it too," she whispered. Mark's hands shook as he pointed his flashlight. The beam cut through the dark, but nothing was there, just trees and shadows. Then a branch snapped behind them. They turned fast, but no one was there. "Let's go back," Mark said, his voice trembling. Sarah nodded, and they started to run. But the woods felt different now. The path twisted, and the trees seemed to move, blocking their way. The whispers grew louder, angrier. Stay, stay with us. Mark's flashlight flickered, then died. Sarah's did the same. Panic took over. They held hands, stumbling through the dark, desperate to find the way out. Suddenly, Sarah screamed. "Something touched me!" she cried. Mark pulled her close, but then he felt it too. A cold, bony hand on his shoulder. He turned, but nothing was there. The whispers turned into laughs, low and cruel. "You can't leave. You're ours now." They ran faster, tripping over roots and rocks. Finally, they saw the edge of the woods, Mark's house in the distance. They burst out, gasping for air, and collapsed on the grass. The whispers stopped. The night was quiet again. They looked at each other, hearts pounding. "We're never going back," Sarah said. Mark agreed. But that wasn't the end. The next night, the whispers came to Sarah's house. "Sarah, come back." She called Mark, terrified. He heard them too, even louder now. They decided to ask for help. They went to Old Man Henry, a strange man who lived alone and knew the town's secrets. People said he was crazy, but he was their only hope. Henry listened to their story, his eyes narrow. "You've woken the shadows," he said. "Long ago, people disappeared in those woods. No one knows why, but some say their spirits got trapped. They whisper to lure others, to take their place. You went in, and now they want you." Mark and Sarah felt cold. "How do we stop them?" Mark asked. Henry shook his head. "You can't, but you can try to protect yourself. Salt, light, and don't listen to them. Never go back to the woods." He gave them a bag of salt and 2 old lanterns. "Keep these burning at night," he said. They followed his advice. They poured salt around their houses, kept the lanterns on, and tried to ignore the whispers. For a few nights, it worked. The voices faded, and they felt safe. But one night, Mark woke up to a new sound, scratching at his window. He looked and saw shadows moving outside, tall and thin, with glowing eyes. The whispers were back, louder than ever. "Mark, let us in." He grabbed the lantern, but it flickered and went out. The salt line at his door was broken, scattered by the wind. The shadows pressed against the windows, their hands clawing at the glass. Mark ran to his phone and called Sarah. "They're here," he shouted. She was crying. "They're at my house too." Mark didn't know what to do. He ran outside, hoping to get to Sarah, but the shadows were everywhere. They moved like smoke, blocking the road, their whispers filling his head. "Stay, stay forever." He fought to keep moving, but his legs felt heavy, like he was stuck in mud. The shadows reached for him, their cold fingers brushing his skin. Suddenly, a bright light cut through the dark. It was Henry, holding a huge lantern, brighter than any they'd seen. "Get back!" he yelled, swinging the light. The shadows hissed and pulled away, fading into the night. Henry grabbed Mark and ran to Sarah's house. They found her inside, curled up, the shadows clawing at her door. Henry's light drove them off again. "Stay together," Henry said. "The light keeps them away, but they'll never stop trying. Don't trust the whispers. Don't go near the woods." Mark and Sarah nodded, too scared to speak. They moved in together, keeping lanterns burning every night, salt around every door and window. The whispers still came, faint and angry, but the shadows stayed away. Mark and Sarah never went near the woods again. They told their story to the town, but few believed them. Some laughed, calling it a silly tale, but others, the older ones, nodded quietly. They'd heard the whispers too. And late at night, if you walked too close to the woods of Green Hollow, you might hear them. Soft, cold voices calling your name, begging you to come closer. Join us. Stay with us. Will you listen, or will you run?